Hello guys, welcome. I'm so glad that you are here, and I'm excited because today is a masterclass day, free masterclass day, where I get to interact with you, interact with some of my followers, and be able to teach, which is something that I really enjoy doing. And this is, as you know, is something free of charge, where we're going to focus on the Brazilian guitar. Before I tell you what the Brazilian guitar is, maybe I should introduce myself real quick. My name is Felipe Coelho. I'm a Brazilian musician. I did study abroad. I got a bachelor's and a master's degree in jazz performance, but I always try to bring along to that universe of improvisation and music theory the Brazilian style, because it's where I'm from. And since I started teaching, and especially since I started going online, especially after the pandemics hit, everything was shifted. I'm basically a gigging artist, you know, I play gigs all the time, and I had to go into the digital world a little more. And that's when all these things came about, when I started making these lessons online. And I discovered then that the Brazilian style of guitar was something that was very attractive to most countries out of Brazil. Everybody seems to be in some way interested or curious about the Brazilian guitar style. And just so about me real quick, so I graduated with a jazz master's degree, and then after that I worked on some cruise ships, and I started writing my own music for a small orchestra and different formations, and then I released a series of records and did a series of tours here in Brazil. It was 8 records. I'm producing the 8th right now, and I've been able to tour them 13 times in Brazil and abroad. I've gotten to play a lot in New York, a few times in New York and Chicago, as well as China and Shanghai and Buenos Aires and most of the Brazilian capitals. So as I was saying, during the pandemics, I started doing more stuff online, as most musicians did. And that's when it came to my knowledge, or to my perception, how valuable and how interesting and how unique the Brazilian guitar seemed to the people abroad. So what is the Brazilian guitar all about? Basically, just like American music, North American music, Brazilian music had the same, a similar history, which is the combination of the classical counterpoint, because the harmony in the music theory that the Brazilian music inherited and the Brazilian guitar inherited was from the classical realm, except we have the African influence as well. Brazil was settled by Europeans and Africans. So the European brought the harmony in the music theory, and the African brought what we call batuque, which is the percussive, the dancing approach, the simplicity, the aspect of simplicity within music. So when I say that, I'm referring to measures of 3/4 or 2/4, very simple cycles that take you to a sort of a trance. It's a kind of music that is made for you to have fun, for you to dance with, to uplift your spirit, as opposed to many other styles where there's other styles that are more intellectual as far as their harmonic content. But Brazilian music is, in a way, mostly focused on rhythm. The harmony is pretty much the same as jazz harmony. Of course, there's a few nuances that we're going to be covering real quick. But basically, if you have studied, or you can study some of it here today, the classical music is what gives foundation to the Brazilian harmony. So in this, I'm going to teach you a masterclass here today. I'm going to be taking questions. You guys are free to interact with me. But basically, my plan is this, is to give you the foundation of Brazilian music. And why foundation? Because music, playing an instrument, is just like building a house. You cannot start from the rooftop. You have to start from the foundation. The more solid your foundation is, the better, the more firmly you can build upon that. So the foundation of Brazilian music is groove. What Brazilian music is all about really is groove. And in a way I could even throw the aspect of simplicity in there. Both harmonically and groove-wise, it's something that's rather simple, not that intellectual, but it's made to touch your spirit deep inside. So Brazilian groove comes from African drumming. So there's a couple of things that I'm gonna make sure that we get straight here. The bass drum is like what we call the father of music. It's that thing that is the rock. It's something that cannot be messed with, cannot be changed. It's very solid. And the bass drum in Brazilian music is mostly represented by the thumb. And this is one of the things that you're going to learn today, is how to make independent, how to make independent the thumb from the fingers, how to isolate these movements and be able to orchestrate your right hand to play in different parts from fingers and thumb. So we're basically going to work on the most basic clave of Bossa Nova, then one example of samba clave, then I'm going to show you the baião, and probably I'm going to show you the partido alto as well. And then later on I would like to brush upon harmony. If you guys are not introduced to harmony, I'm going to take you for a look around the harmonized scale and all the degrees, how they're built and how we use them. So at the end of this class, I'm going to match the grooves and the techniques for the grooves to a few ideas of harmony, a few chord progressions that are very common to Brazilian music. Then we're going to put all of this together. All right. Here in this channel, there's already some examples of some arrangements that you can play. I'm going to make sure that I can squeeze within we have about 1 hour and a half here today. I'm going to try to at least give you the chord progressions for one or two tunes. All right. So again, guys, I'm so glad you're here. So let's get started. Simplest Brazilian groove is Bossa Nova. The first thing I showed you is that the thumb is responsible for what we call surdo, which is the big bass drum. Everything in Brazil that deals with percussion came straight from Africa. And that's why the importance of the groove, which is African music is all about groove. So we're going to grab ourselves a G major 7 chord here. I haven't explained that or what it is piece by piece, but just imitate what I'm doing. Forget this 7th string, this is a 7th string guitar. Put your finger on the 6th string, 3rd fret, and then these two fingers right here. 4th string, 4th fret, 3rd string, 4th fret, and finally the D note, which is 2nd string, 3rd fret. The strings are counted from below upwards as 1, 2, 3, or 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Okay? Here's the G major chord. Now, the surdo, which is done by the thumb, is always on the downbeat. Always. Nothing is ever going to change that. If you change that, you have lost the groove. If you want to make people dance, which in a way, that's what Brazilian guitar is all about, is having that sort of a groove. I'm going to say that word as many times as it takes, but in order to have a strong groove, you got to have this foundation. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. And here's the figure. 1, 2, I'm gonna show this here on the screen for you, the Bossa Nova. Emerson? I'm gonna show you on the screen the Bossa Nova figure. What's happening here is one and. So if you see a beat, that's one thing I should have done before. We have to deal with this. One beat is 4 16th notes. So every beat is separated, is subdivided into 4 16th notes. So you have 1 E and 1 E and 2 E and right? Always like that. So this figure, ta ta, is like grabbing like this. 1 and then 3 and 4 together. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. That's the first part of the high part. 1 and. And the second beat is, you're seeing the second beat right here. You're going to play off of the second 16th note. That means 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. So that's beat 2. So I'm going to count as such. 2 2 3 4, 2 2 3 4, and the attack is on the second 16th note. That means this. 2 2 3 4, 2 2 3 4, 2 2 3. So let's put them together. Just the high part played by these 3 fingers on these 3 strings that you're holding right here. So that's the B, G, and D string. I'm going to have this. 1 and 2 and ta ta ta. 1 and 2 2 3 4. Right? So it's 1 2 3 4 2 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 2 2 3 4. And now you combine that by putting the bass on the downbeats. 1 and 2. 1 2 or 1 2 3 4 2 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. Here are both parts together. You can do just with that groove. You can play all the Bossa Nova, all the beautiful Jobim tunes and the João Gilberto guitar playing. Most of it's based off of this. So what you want to do is spend some time syncing this in so you can play without thinking. There's so much you can do with this. For example, I'm going to move that chord a whole step down to F major 7. And you could do this. Se você disser que eu desafino amor. Listen to the groove. Saiba que isto em mim provoca imensa dor. Só privilegiados têm ouvido igual ao seu. Eu posso apenas o que Deus me deu. So all I'm doing on the right hand here, don't mind the harmony. I'm trying to teach you the groove here, which is the foundation. No point in learning intricate things if you can't groove yet. So you get a music philosophy lesson along with a guitar class and this master class. And the philosophy is this. Nothing is good without groove. You have to focus first on groove. The groove is that concrete you put on the foundation of your house. If there's no groove, there's no music, right? At least that is the law here for Brazilian guitar. So pay attention to the right hand. Here's the Bossa Nova pattern I just showed you, which is on the bottom of the screen. 1 2 3 or 1 and 2 and ta 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 ta. How about another example? Here's a tune called Meditation. It goes like this. Quem acreditou no amor, no sorriso e na flor, então sonhou, sonhou. Perdeu a paz, o amor, o sorriso e a flor despertaram depressa demais. Quem entender? And then so on, we start creating a few more patterns with which we can improvise, but foundation. That's what I want you to do. I want to remind you that this lesson is going to stay online for about a week, I believe. Is it a week that's going to stay online? This lesson is going to stay online for a week, yes. Correct? For 1 week, so you guys get to go back and look again anything that you might not have caught well enough. So let's go into the samba. Let's make this a little more intricate. The samba groove, guys, is a clave. What is a clave? A clave is a rhythmic sequence, basically a cycle, upon which the song is going to be composed. So the clave is like, again, the foundation of your house. Now, To understand the samba clave, we're going to have to understand the concept of syncopation. This is one of the Brazilian secrets. If you're learning Brazilian music out there with any teacher and you have not been introduced to the aspect of syncopation, then you're missing out. Because the syncopation is present both on rhythm and even the melodies. If you take a Joe Beam songbook, which is a book I have at home, and you look at the drawings of all the melodies, you always see syncopation rhythmic figures, or syncopating rhythmic figures. What is syncopation? I'll explain it to you real quick. Take again the sight of one beat, 4 16th notes. What I call straight eighth notes are if you do this, first and third, that is downbeat and upbeat. Da, 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 da. And the 4 16th note would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The syncopated ones are the second and fourth. A little harder to place, but let's try this together. Count with me 1, 2, 3, 4 2 times, and then take out 1 and 3 and just keep 2 and 4. So do this with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4. That is what syncopation is placing a rhythmic accent or a melody off of those notes, second or fourth 16th note or both. Now, an exercise. Here's the figure of syncopation down here on the screen. And the exercise is going to be like this. We're going to place the beat, the downbeat, always on 1. This is going to be a constant thing on Brazilian guitar. Always the downbeat on 1. G chord, G major 7 being played right here. And I'm going to do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And now that I've done that, it's important to count so you can acknowledge your brain of these subdivisions. Now use these fingers to pull on second and fourth. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And just for the heck of it, since on the samba clave we're also going to have straight eights, let's look at the straight eights. That's the easiest one because it's together with the bass. 1. You play 1, bass and fingers together. And then you play the upbeat, which is the 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So here's a series of straight eights. We must be able to do this before we learn the samba clave. Series of straight eights. The first straight eighth matches with the thumb because they're both on the downbeat. Boom, that's 1. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now let's respond with a series of syncopated eighths. So I have this ba, ba, ba. That is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 4 beats. These are not 16th notes anymore. I'm looking at a whole measure of 4 beats, okay? And I'm going to introduce 3 straight eighth notes and then respond with 3 syncopated notes, and that is going to make up the first samba clave that you can use to play any samba tunes. Here it is, the straight eights, da, da, or da, 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 da. That's 4 straight eights, 1 and 2 and, okay? Once again, 1 and 2 and. And now off of 3, as soon as I count 3, I'm going to respond with a series of syncopated. So I have 1, 2, and 3, and 4, da, 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 ba, 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 ba. So that's 2 beats of straight eights and 2 beats of syncopation. That's not quite yet the authentic samba clave, but I'm taking you there by the hand, step by step. First, hang with me here. Repeat that exercise. You got 1 and 2. Syncopation. Do you guys make sense out of this? Let me know if you're following. Let me know if you have any questions. All right, let's get going. Now I'm going to make it a little more interesting. I'm going to only do 3 straight eights. That is like this: 1 and 2. Okay, and then when I'm on the second beat, on the 4th 16th note of that beat is where I'm going to start the syncopation. That is this: 1 and 2. So 1 and 2, 3, 4. Once again, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. Right there. Once again, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. That's where the syncopation is going to start. So it's going to look like this: 4. Ba, 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 ba. samba is on the PDF. There's a PDF link here on this chat, and you guys are welcome to access it. It has all of the basics that I want to touch on today, and this is a free thing that I'm just giving you as a gift. Free PDF on the link here on the chat, and on this PDF you get to see the samba examples that I'm showing you. So once again, here is beat 1 and 2. That is called straight eighth, 1 and 2. And then on this 4th 16th note, I'm going to start the syncopation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. So ba 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 yes, da 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 da. In my method of teaching, I like to combine a little bit of written theory, and I'm saying written, but I'm sort of explaining it to you. So I'm talking about like a method or a mathematical way to look at music with the subdivisions, but also we have to combine that with sound perception. Listen, feel, and try to play back. These two methods combined together, in my opinion, are the ultimate method, and that's what I've seen done through all my experience in the academic world. So I'm gonna just sing for you now the figure, and I want you to try to imitate me. I have this 1, 2, 3, 4, and da 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 ba 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 ba. Notice that pickup note is a pickup eighth note, and 1, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, ba 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 ba. Have any of you guys heard this? I'm actually curious. I'm curious to know if this is familiar to you at all or not. Tell me where you're from, if you guys don't mind, so I can get an idea of what cultures that I'm dealing with here. For some people, this may seem something very new, and for some, this may seem very easy. I actually may take this lesson faster in case I notice that people are a little more advanced, or if I have a majority of Latin countries here, or I may just take it as slow as I am. So that's the samba clave. I'm going to clap the downbeats and sing. I got a couple questions here that I'm gonna take. Just once I'm gonna solfege this rhythm. Here's the bass, the thumb, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And with my mouth, I'm going to sing the high part played by the fingers. Ba 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 ba. In order to get this down, you have to internalize the subdivision. For every time I'm clapping, I'm always feeling in my body. That's like a grid, and it is off of that grid that the accents are going to be placed. So I got a couple questions here. Let me make sure What is the first question?
I'm an Englishman in Germany.
Oh, cool.
Gibraltar, Belgium.
All right.
Uruguay. Francisco Rocco. You gain a lot of South American music and definitely absorbed it. It's probably some example of Chelsea Machado are the first that comes to mind, but I'm sure you have more.
All right, well.
El Salvador, Iceland.
France, okay, we have a lot of variety of. Okay,
Maryland.
any questions about this pattern I just gave you guys? Da 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 da.
I'm totally lost in syncopation.
Okay, somebody said out there they're totally lost in the syncopation. Let me review that real quick. Pode botar o desenho na síncope. You know, syncopation is this. One beat has an internal subdivision of 4 16th notes. Okay, that is 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. You must always feel this. You must see music this way. So syncopation is singing or using these accents of the 2nd and 4th 16th notes. So if I have 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, the accents are 2 4 2 4 2 4. So we make an exercise and put that on your hand by doing this. 1 is the thumb, followed by the accents on 2 and 4. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. That is the basics of syncopation, okay? And I can even go further on that exercise. I want you guys all to do this with me. Fill in the 3rd 16th note as well with a percussive hit, like this. So we have this. So when you speed this up, it makes a lot more sense. Check it out. of the tricks that I'm doing here to sort of control how much the sound rings or doesn't ring is lifting this hand right here. I play, and when I lift, it's like a piano pedal that you muffle the sound with. So in order to make it groove, you have to be constantly pressing and releasing on the neck. Da, da, da. Notice how my hand is moving. So it doesn't sound like this. This here is more stiff. You have to control the sound attack by pressing and releasing. So that's the idea. Let's go for one more of the secrets of Brazilian guitar here. I'm gonna give you one that's about the interpretation of 16th notes. 16th notes, if they're read by a computer, they're gonna sound mathematically identical, but they're not. And each culture, each language usually has a slight nuance on the interpretation of the 16th notes. In the case of Brazilian guitar, this is very strong. You pick this up much more than by my explanation. You will pick it up by listening to Brazilian music. That's the best way to really pick this up. But I can analyze it to you, and that's going to make your process easier. Putting what accent, I'm going to show you a picture underneath the screen here, which is the accenting of the 16th note. In Brazilian music, these four, they get a little bit more like this, where you tie the second and the third together. They're shorter and they're softer. And these two on the outside, they get the accent, they're longer and louder. So I'm going to sing the 16th note to differentiate it for you. Instead of having this, ta 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 ta, that's 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. You have this ta 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 ta. What you really hear is ta 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 ta, and it's almost like a triplet. It's almost like this ta 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 ta. It's very different from ta 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 ta. And how is that put on the guitar? We can use the syncopation exercise, what we just did. This is stiff, like a robot. You don't want to sound like that. Here's what you don't do. Now you start applying a feeling that's boom, ta, boom, ta, 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 ta. What does that mean? Is the last hit up is where the accent lives in the downward, the downbeat. So 1 and 4. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1. And then you do a little accent on the 2 as well, which is what's written on there. And you have this. What you want to sing is what you hear mostly is ta 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 ta, which is 4 1 2 3 4 1 4 1. And then you try to embody that feeling and pass it on to the guitar. Very different from a robot-like version of 16th notes. Here's a tune that you could play with that. For example, I'm going to try to emphasize that difference, that accent, okay? Here's a tune. Eu vou pra Maracangalha, eu vou de uniforme branco, eu vou de chapéu de palha, eu vou pra Maracangalha, eu vou. Canalha não quiser ir, eu vou só. Se a Nalha não quiser ir, eu vou só. It's a feeling that's sort of hard to describe. I try to write it down there in accents that you can see, but the best idea is not only to acknowledge those accents, but to listen and try to play back. It's something that you sort of learn almost subconsciously. But I hope it makes sense to you guys. Are there any questions here? All right.
Yes. Chris Hosler. Any Brazilian music you recommend to listen to certain artists?
Of course. You can listen to Ginga. I love the music of Ginga. It's more guitar related. As well as Yamandu Costa, for example, great Brazilian guitarist. Some composers like Martinho da Vila or Zeca Pagodinho. Can you write that for me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to have my digital engineer partner here who's going to type in some of these names I just mentioned. Ginga, Yamandu Costa, Zeca Pagodinho, and Martinho da Vila. The two last ones are composers. They're not really guitar players. And the first ones, Ginga, Yamandu Costa, Martinho da Vila, and Zeca Pagodinho. So now, guys, let's dive in to the baião. The baião is probably the second most popular rhythm in Brazil, and it is the rhythm of that video you just saw in the entrance here, which is a video from my channel where I interpret the tune called Feira de Mangaio. Eu tava usando esse chapéu naquele não tava, não. So Feira de Mangaio is a baião, and what is the essence of baião?
It's the first song that...
Yeah, it's the first video that you saw in the entrance of this masterclass. That's a baião. What is the baião all about? It's basically a 2-beat cycle. So it's very simple. This is African aspect right here, is the simplicity that takes you into a trance. So a 2-beat cycle, let's separate these 2 beats in 2 groups of 16th notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how you gotta see it. Now the bass goes on here, 1 and 4 16th notes of beat 1. And then there's no bass on beat 2. So the bass is really the figure that is responsible for the feeling of baião, that really brings it out. It's here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 4. I'm gonna give you a minute at home to try to give yourself a pace and try to sing that before I show you what it is. Think about this. If you have a beat right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. Where would the bass be? It's important for you to try to think theoretically like this and operate with the music like this without me giving you the answer ahead of time. So you put the bass on 1 and 4. How would that go? 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 4. That's how we go. So if I have a G major chord here again, I'm gonna do this. Just for the exercise, I'm gonna actually grab every 16th note on the fingers here. This is what I call Symphonic Style. It's like the accordion style. As they close and open the accordion, you have a rhythmic attack. On the guitar, you have to do it with your fingers, like so. Here's the accent that I told you before. Tak, ti, ta, tak, ti, ta, ta, which is still written here on the bottom of the screen. I'm gonna do it with my fingers. Instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, it goes like this. See how I'm the 2 ones in the middle, 2 and 3, I'm muffling. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And now I'm going to put the bass. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Give this percussion accent here on the up of 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. Let's start like that. Here's a baião. Simplest way. Now let's try the... What I'm doing is I'm plucking every 16th note and putting the bass together. There's so many ways you can do this. For example, another way is you could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 1. You can do a double bass 4, 1, like such. Here I'm accenting the chord along with that bass line, but I'm doing 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is a good time for me to show you another secret of the Brazilian guitar. This is one of the coolest secrets, and I could really call it a secret, because it's very, very Brazilian. If you haven't studied the Brazilian guitar, I can bet you probably have not been introduced to this technique, which I call the double stroke technique. Double stroke technique is what helps you play faster and sound like you're playing faster and doing a lot more work when you're really not. So what is the double stroke technique all about? I believe I have a video here on the channel where I do explain that, but I'm going to go in a little more depth right now. The double stroke technique, guys, is being able to do this in situations where it asks for a lot of subdivisions, like now. But if you play a whole tune like that, by the end of the tune, your arm is going to fall off, or you're going to have to go to the hospital. So you don't want that. What you want to do is do a simpler way to get all 16th notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. How we do that is you divide these 3 fingers into group 1 and group 2. So group 1 is just finger 1, and then they're going to work alternating like that. So instead of having this, can have this. See? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to play 2 beats with the double stroke technique. 1 is here and 2 is here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do that with me at home. Go like this. Don't mind the bass yet. We're going to put the bass in its place. Põe a figura do baião, hein? Mas tem no PDF, né? The baião rhythm, guys, that I'm showing you here is written on that PDF, okay? I'm not going to put it on the screen here because I do have it on the PDF. This is about a 4 to 5 page PDF that talks about these fundaments that I'm trying to teach you right now. And don't forget, this lesson is going to stay up for about a week so you guys can enjoy it later if you don't have time to focus right now. So here is the idea. 2 beats of double stroke technique. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2. Right? Now the bass. One of the things that you can do sometimes to get a little more firmness with your right hand, there's 2 ways of playing. You can sort of lift it like a classical musician, or you can also lay it down a little bit and rest this part of your wrist on the neck of the guitar, and that to me helps sometimes to give my hand a little bit more stability. It's very important to have this stability and sometimes to use a mirror in front of you, because the guitar strings, they will absorb impact when you hit them, and you have to absorb that impact without moving your hand. If the impact of the string moves your hand about the guitar, then your technique is going to be affected by that. So this helps me sometimes if I'm doing something that's too busy with the right hand. Leaning it on the bridge helps me keep my hand more stable. So you can do 2 ways. You could do just play all 16th notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Listen to the bass going on that. 1, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. First and fourth 16th note of beat 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. So you get this. See how I lean my hand a little bit? I leaned it right here. Now try to do this. Try to eliminate the stroke 1 of the double stroke technique and just leave the bass alone. So you're going to have this. And that's going to sound even more like a baião. What's cool in the Brazilian guitar, and it's a very important element here, here's another secret. I should have put these secrets in sequence, but I think this is about the 5th one, is this. As much as you can, in order to emulate the African surdo sounds like this. One hit is open skin. The skin of the drum is open, it sounds lower. And then on the next hit, they will put their hand on the skin of the big drum, and it sounds higher because it stretches, makes the skin tighter. And how you emulate that on the guitar is, say I have a C major 7-9 chord right here. Tonic 3rd, 7 and 9. Later we can spend a little time, not sure if we have time today, but I could try to make a video for you showing you how to build chords with the intervals. But this is a whole planet, it would take a few hours to really dominate this. So for now, just go with what I'm saying. You can pause this on your video if you want and make this voicing right here. The reason why I'm doing this is because I want to show you a chord with the bass on the 5th string alternating between the tonic and the 5th. That is the secret of Brazilian guitar, one of them, is alternating the bass between tonic and 5th. And it's going to sound like this. I'm going to do the baião. Here's another thing about that secret. It's another secret, but let's put it within the same secret, is this. The highest note gets the short attack, and the low note gets the long attack. And why is that? It's because in the surdo drum, the lowest note gets the open skin of the drum. They hit with a mallet, boom, and it sounds boom. And then you muffle it, ba, the boom, boop, the boom, boop. And how that translates to the guitar is like this. In the samba, notice how the C, the C is short, and the G, the fifth, is longer. For those who don't know, why do I call G the fifth? Because every chord has a root. It is the first note of the chord, the bass note. And then the chord is built of tonic third and fifth. So how do you know third and fifth? Is you basically just have to count within the scale. C, who's the fifth? C, D, E, F, G. That's how I know this is the fifth. And who's the third? C, D, E is the third. So it's good to do an exercise where you can call all the triads like this. C, E, G, D, F, A, E, G, B. You have those sequences internalized is a very good thing to do to help you think the chords faster. So here is in C major. I am alternating the bass with the fifth to give you that African groove. On samba, it's like you're building the more songs you play and the more exercise you do, you build a vocabulary with which you can sort of improvise and alternate ideas and even throw in new ideas as long as you're respecting that fundament. The right hand can actually improvise. So first I'll show you a few figures and then later you can combine them. So that's what I'm doing here. Da, 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 da. That's the first samba clave. It's straight eighths and syncopated eighths. Straight da da da. And the syncopation is ba 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 ba. If you guys could get just this today, I'll already be very happy. Da da da. Straight syncopation. Straight eighths. Syncopation. Straight ba 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 da 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 da. So that's the idea. There's so many tunes you could play here. Valei-me Deus. This is Javan, for those who don't know. That's a very good artist. You can check his music. He's one of Brazil's most popular artists, and he has many beautiful sambas. For example, this one. Valei-me Deus, é o fim do nosso amor. Perdoa, por favor. Eu sei que o erro aconteceu, mas não sei o que fez. Tudo mudar de vez. Onde foi que eu errei? Eu só sei que amei, que amei, que amei, que amei. Será talvez na ilusão vai dar meu coração uma força pra essa moça me fazer feliz que o destino não quis. And so on. It's a long tune. I don't mean to stretch it in there, but the idea is this: 1 5 1 5. That's such an important fundament for whatever tune you play. Whatever tune you play, you may just have the chords written down like C, A, just the chord letters, but you have to interpret them like that. That's important even for classical musicians. I would say especially for classical musicians, because there are classical pieces written from Brazilian composers, but some of these nuances they cannot be written down. Groove cannot be written down. A certain accent within the subdivision of 16th notes cannot be written down. So you must put together the knowledge of written music and classical music together with grooves. So if you are a classical player out there, I believe these exercises and tips are very important for you. Listen to the music, listen to the root, listen to where it comes from in order to really be able to bring about the accent. So that's what I'm trying to address here. Now I'm going to show you the same thing is the idea of alternating the bass between tonic and fifth, but in the baião style, okay? So the baião, as we were doing, 1 2 3 4 2 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 2 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 2 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 2 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 2 2 3 4. Alternating bass. Double stroke technique. Another tip, what I'm doing here, the very last 16th note, you can actually let go of the chord. It sounds dirty, sounds like a little dirt in there. A classical musician would never do this. But listen to the effect it gives you. It's like it gives you another color, another effect from a view of a percussionist. Like this, instead of playing, this is a little too stiff. How about, see, I get an open D here because it's the note I'm playing in the double stroke, the 4th, 16th note, 1, 2, 3, 4, finger 1, it gets on the D string. But I release the chord, totally release it, and somebody would say, this is wrong, but it's not wrong. That's the secret, that's the mojo right there, right? So you got this. See? Up, up. Essence of baião. I would like to take a short break here, and I'm going to share with you another tune. This is a Brazilian choro. I could spend a little bit talking about the Brazilian choro, but I'd just like to share with you an arrangement that I put together a little while ago of a Brazilian standard called Noites Cariocas. And what I would like for you to listen out to is the samba clave within this interpretation, and especially the alternating bass like the African surdo, exactly what I'm trying to explain to you. Listen to how these tips are applied to a Brazilian arrangement. Let me know what you think about it. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that. So I'd like to continue this lesson by going into one of the favorite Brazilian rhythms. There's a lot of recordings that use this, and it's like a Brazilian hidden secret because most people that listen to it can't quite figure out what's going on, can't quite figure out where beat 1 is. And this is the rhythm called samba de partido alto. This is a special kind of samba. And the reason for that is because the idea of the dialogue between the straight eighth and the syncopated eighth actually happens not on the high part, but on the bass. So that makes it very interesting. So first, let's talk about just the theory behind this. I'm going to sing for you the bass part, and then we're going to apply it. We have 4 beats, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Think about like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the bass here on the up of 1, 2, and. So we got this: 1, ba, 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 ba. So once again, da, da. Let's do this again. Let's just put it on the downbeat of 2 and the up of 2 like this. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Let's make it a B minor chord like this, and I'm gonna use the bass going on to B minor like that, okay? Or let's just for now use maybe the B note. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Once you got that down, we're going to now do the dialogue of the syncopated part. So I'm gonna have this same figure, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I'm gonna put it on the syncopation now, starting right here. Dun, 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 dun. Starting on beat 4. On beat 4, we're gonna start syncopating. So how do you syncopate again? 2nd and 4th 16th note. So that's gonna be like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. The reason why it is so complicated is because the 1 is hidden on the syncopation. If you syncopate right off of 4, you got 4, 2, 3, 4, 1. So 4, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's kind of hard to show it, but basically just come with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slower and count so you know exactly where 1 is, where it falls, right in between the syncopation of the bass. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 1. To a variety of chords, like say you could come up with a progression going 1st degree E minor, 2nd degree maybe E minor. Here's an E minor 9. This is a nice Brazilian chord. You got tonic. Don't forget I'm using a 7th string, so put your finger on 7th fret 5th string. That's your E. Minor 3rd right here. Minor 7th right here, and the 9th. That's a color or extension. Here in the second we're going to be talking about harmony. So what if I did on these 2 chords? You could play a tune in A minor. There's a tune called Incompatibilidade de Gênios, which is a samba. Remember? Straight eighths versus syncopated eighths. So we got ta 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 pa 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 pa, syncopated and straight. Ta 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 pa 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 pa. Some of the greatest guitar teachers, they say that in order to really learn music well, sometimes you have to put the instrument down and work in just knowing that you understand what you're trying to play. So think about it and sing it to yourself. Give yourself a beat and sing that straight eighth versus syncopation. Pa pa pa. Pa 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 pa. Syncopation and straight. And then try to play this figure with the bass, alternating between tonic and 5th. Here's a samba, and then we're going to turn it into a partido alto, okay? I'm showing you a song that we can play as samba and as partido alto and see what it sounds like. Here's regular samba. Tip. Answer with that little high note there. E, high E. Da da pa 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 pa. Or the 7. The exercise. Remember the exercise of syncopation. having that hit on the 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can try to work that in like this. Now, partido alto. The fingers go to the bass. Here is basically you're going to worry only about the bass. Just focus your mind on the bass. And then the right hand is going to answer whenever you have open space. Sometimes throw in a little double stroke like such. Here I'm doing this. After the bass, I'm plucking 1 and then 2 and 4 together. You can do tudago dago. Another thing you can do is when you're working the bass up on this chromatic line, you can answer with the upbeat pluck. See? Cool. I'm reading some of the, yeah, thank you guys. I'm glad it seems you guys are following. This is great. Any questions about the rhythms? I'm going to leave these examples, and the cool thing is this lesson is going to stay up. You guys are welcome to go back to it anytime. Totally free, and you can even play it slow down if you need. There's the option on YouTube where you can slow down. But I cannot finish this lesson without spending a little bit of time in harmony, since I get a lot of questions very frequently about Brazilian chord progressions and Brazilian chords. Simply chords and chord progressions. So in order to talk about harmony, we're going to have to go to the foundation again. Again, as I said before, this lesson is about a foundation of music upon which you can build the techniques to be able to play some Brazilian music. So the foundation is what I call the harmonized scale. This comes straight from classical music theory. Pode botar a figura da... So the harmonized scale basically is a structure that's built out of the major scale. So first thing you have to know is the major scale. And this is not guitar theory, this is music theory. The major scale is a structure that can start on any note, and you're going to follow the series of intervals of whole, half step, whole, half step. So you got whole, half, whole, half. And that's what gives birth to this sound. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Everybody knows this, right? So if you take this as the beginning of it all, this is the Big Bang here of Western music theory. And you stack thirds. What is to stack third? Is take the first note, skip the second, grab the next one. That is a third. Skip the next one and grab the next one. So you end up with this. Okay? Skip the next one and grab the next one. This is what we call a tetrachord. And if you look at it, I'm not going to go into too much detail explaining all the intervals, but this is basically a major 7 chord. All right? Major 7 chord is major 3rd, perfect 5th, and major 7. Now, what's the coolest thing about the guitar is that the guitar gives you a visual fretboard of intervals. And over time, if you always play I always tell this to my students, is everything you play on the guitar, try to see the intervals you're playing, because that's going to open really your sight about how the instrument works. So here, if you have a root, and this is a third, that becomes actually a visual pattern to where anywhere you go with this physical pattern here, or visual pattern, it's going to be a major 3rd. And that helps you build chords. Now, if you know this is the tonic and this is the 5th, so you can take this pattern anywhere, and you know you're playing a perfect 5th. So basically, if you keep on stacking thirds from the tonic, you end up with a major 7 chord. Now if you stack thirds from the second note, you're going to end up doing this. Here's the major scale. I'm going to take down the second note as being the root, and I'm going to stack thirds, and I end up with this shape. And that gives me a minor 7th chord. So what I did here on the screen is I put the formula of all the chords that you end up with. This is something that you can memorize, and the quicker you memorize this, the better off you will be understanding harmony. Because harmony is spoken amongst musicians as degrees. First degree, second degree, third degree, and by the number of the degree, a trained musician will automatically know what is the nature of that chord. By nature, I mean major or minor, and what is the function? And by function, I mean minor seventh or major seventh. A minor seventh represents a tendency or function of movement, whereas a major seventh represents the function of rest. So here is the 7 chords of any given key. I'm going to do as written here on the screen. Major 7. Here's my first degree. Second degree is A minor 7. Notice that it's a whole step up from G. Third degree, we call it, first degree we call Ionian, second degree we call Dorian. Third degree, again minor 7 chord, we call it Phrygian. Fourth degree, we call it Lydian, and it is another major 7 chord. Fifth degree is the only dominant. It is written as simply the chord, the letter, and plus the letter, the number 7. That is the dominant chord, made by major 3rd, perfect 5th, and minor 7th. Then you have the minor 7th chord, which is the 6th degree, we call it Aeolian. And finally, the 7th is called the Locrian, half diminished chord. Half diminished is also understood as being minor 7, flat 5. So that's going to give you G, A minor, B minor, C major, D7, E minor 7, and F sharp half diminished. That is the formula of any given key, and we call this a harmonized scale. Now, what is a Brazilian chord progression? Well, there's many, but I can give you a very known harmonic path that is also known also in jazz. What makes the difference sometimes between jazz and Brazilian music is the groove, is the language of the groove. But the harmony many times you'll see being the same. So I'm gonna use these chords 1, 6, 2, 5, and then, well, first 1, 6, 2, 5. What is that? 1, G major. Now when I say 6, you're gonna end up in E minor. Here's a nice E minor 7, 9. This F sharp is the 9th. You play the open root, and this voicing right here. And then the 2, A minor 7th, and the 5 chord, we could do it like this. Here's a D, first inversion. We could spend some time talking about inversion, but I'm not sure we're going to have time today. I'm trying to squeeze in as much valuable information as I can. So here's just a D first inversion. That means the bass is on the major 3rd. The root is really on the D open string. But here is the chord. So now I'm going to play these 4 chords once again. G major, E minor, A minor, D7. And I'm going to apply to it a samba style. First a Bossa Nova. That's a small example of Brazilian progression. Now we could play a little bit here. Instead of going back to 1, I'm going to explain to you real quick the function of these 7 chords. You have 3 functions here, with which we make cadences. Cadence is a natural harmonic movement with which you write a song. So what is a cadence? It's made of subdominant, dominant, and tonic function chords. So write this down if you want. Who are the tonic function chords? Basically, the 1, and then a 3rd above is you get the 3rd degree Phrygian, and a 3rd down, you get the 6th degree Aeolian. Those are the tonic function chords. Who are the subdominant chords? 2, 4, and 7. Why is it so? 2, and then a 3rd above is 4, and a 3rd down is the 7. So in the case of G, the subdominant chords would be 2nd degree A minor, 4th degree C major, and 7th degree F sharp half diminished. And who is the 5? Is the dominant function is basically your 5 guy, your Mixolydian, D7, right? So what we're gonna do here, just one more quick thing about harmony. We're running out of time, but I really want to squeeze in, talk about secondary dominance. This is something very important in jazz, classical, Brazilian music, many styles. Basically, a secondary dominant is a dominant chord that is not the 5 of your key, but every single one of these chords may have its own dominant. So like so. A dominant is the chord that builds tension to take you home, take you to a desired chord. So you basically, if you want to go to 1, you do 5 of 1. Here's 5, 1. Now you can, the 2 may have a secondary dominant. It is the 5 of 2, E dominant. 5, 1. Now the 5 of the 3rd degree is F sharp. 5, 1. So what we can do in this progression, we could use secondary dominants in that progression. We have 1, 6, 2, 5, right? So instead of going back to 1, let's go to the 3rd degree because it's a dominant, it's a tonic function chord. And then lead on to 2 by doing a 5 of 2. So we have 3. 5 of 2 is E7. Going on to A minor and D7. So here's the progression. It's becoming more and more like a Brazilian tune. You have 1, 6, 2, 5, 3. 5 of 2. And that's E7. And then A minor and 5. So listen to what that sounds like, maybe with a baião groove. That's just a progression using the baião and trying to explain to you how these Brazilian progressions are built. You have to really master this diagram right here on the screen, which is what we call the harmonized scale. I'm not sure if we have any important questions here. I'm going to have my digital engineer read some of the questions. But as I do that, as he does that, separa alguma coisa interessante aí? I have to tell you this, guys. I'm trying to here squeeze as much knowledge as I can into about 1 hour and a half. And obviously, it's impossible to squeeze everything that I could possibly know since I've been studying this all my life in just this time. So any of you guys who would like to go deeper into this knowledge, we still have some time left here for me to answer questions. But if you really would like to go with me on a journey, I do have a course available that I'm going to talk about a little bit more about it later on. But that's something that for you guys who are interested, stick with me until the end, and I'm going to be talking about this one-time offer, and it is really one time. It's going to stay open for 1 week, and then I'm going to close the card, and this is how I've been doing since about 2 years ago. Basically, I close a group of students that sticks with me for 3 months worth of lives and 12 hours worth of recorded lessons that really show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. But I'm going to take some questions right now. 4 months. Sorry, guys, it was 4 months. 4 months, yeah, correct, worth of lives. It's going to be 8 lives that are spread along 4 months for a promotional price. The reason why I say promotional is because of this. I do teach private lessons online for the rate of $40 per lesson. If you took, say, 10 lessons, that's 10 times 4. That would be $400 for 10 lessons. But in this course, you get 12 hours of recorded material plus 8 hours of live. So that's 20 hours of instructions. And you can get all these 20 hours of instructions, which would be worth $800, you get for $91. That's why I say it's a promotional one-time only price. So if you guys want to know more about it, just stick with me till the end. But I'm going to read on some questions right now.
Do you think that Heitor Villa-Lobos went one step further in the evolution of Brazilian rhythm?
I would not say he went one step further into the evolution of Brazilian rhythms, because I see him more as a classical educated musician who brought in the popular. When I say the popular, I mean the non-classical, but the popular cultural voices. When I say popular, I mean more from the street. He took these street musicians and listened very closely to what they were doing, and then he brought that culture, that way of playing music, which was heavily influenced by the African people, and he took it into the classical world. So I think he was more about revolutionizing the classical music rather than the Brazilian rhythms, because the ones that were responsible for a rhythmic revolution were really the African people, who were bringing in all this large baggage of rhythmic knowledge and rhythmic experience. And then Villa-Lobos basically saw that, and he decided to write that down for classical instruments. So he wrote what he was seeing being done by the African people. He wrote it down for classical instruments, for the orchestra, for the classical guitar, for the classical piano. So I would not say, some people might say I'm wrong, but in my experience, I think that's where his importance was bridging the popular forms of music into the classical world, into the concert world. So he brought in that tradition into theaters and orchestras. So that's why he was so important. Anything else?
You use your right hand for the staccato too.
Absolutely. The staccato that's done on the guitar is done both by the right and the left hand. When you want to do a staccato, you want to make sure that, just like it says, staccato, it jumps out, but it immediately stops, right? You immediately silence the sound. The strength of the attack is done by the right hand, but the silencing is done by the left, like so. You have to let go of this chord here in order to stop it. So the staccato is done by both hands. This does the attack, and this stops the note from ringing. However, there is one technique called palming, which comes from the southern Brazilian guitar style. Basically, the palming technique is done this. It's like a staccato, but purely of left hand. Like this. So you can play sometimes lines like this. But you can play them, I'm using the intervals of sixes here. This is one of, this is a Brazilian guitar secret, but more from the southern tradition. There's a very strong tradition of guitar in South Brazil, where I'm from, where they harmonize everything using not chords, but intervals of sixes, like this. It's something that fits very well on the guitar on the left hand. So you do this and you can palm that. So what is to palm? Is at the same time I'm grabbing the strings, I'm muffling them with this part of my hand here. So that's how another way to do a staccato, right? So basically, guys, there's so much that we could study together. Maybe I should take you. Cadê a descrição que eu tinha desenhado aqui? I want to basically talk about the structure that I've been able to put out in a plan, a 4-month plan of this Secrets of Brazilian Guitar course that I want to talk a little bit more about. Basically, there are 4 main modules and 2 extra modules. This course has 12 hours of recorded materials, and most of them are packed into 2 modules, rhythm and harmony. These are the greatest pillars of Brazilian music, rhythm and harmony. Rhythm, we're going to look at samba and all its variations. We're going to take one clave and turn it around to build 3 other claves out of one clave. Then you have basically samba clave 1, 2, 3, and 4. You have Bossa Nova clave, you have partido alto clave, then we have a couple techniques that I call, for example, samba de bêbado. This is a simpler way, very dirty, not classical at all, but with which you can get more sound out of the guitar by using, instead of grabbing the guitar, you actually flick these fingers into the chord like this. All right. Simpler technique, dirtier technique, but you get more volume and you get more, I would say, probably more expression out of the guitar. Then we're going to look, of course, like I said, into baião, and there's one extra rhythm that we did not look today, but it's a very important rhythm from the northern part of Brazil called afoxé, in which the bass always goes like this: 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 1, 2, and. Like there's a Javan tune. Eu não sei que vem de Deus, o céu ficar azul, ouvirá dos olhos Deus essa dor que azuleja o dia, se a casa noite. Anyways, this is a long thing.
Course here.
Oh, okay. We have chord structure showing up for you on the screen. As I was explaining explaining the rhythms, the modules, you have a big module on rhythm, a module on harmony, where you're going to have explained to you all the symmetrical scales in all the 4 harmonized scales: natural, harmonic minor, harmonic major, and melodic minor. So there's all the possible jazz scales or classical scales you could find. They're all in there. Then we're going to have a technique module where I'm going to talk about technique for executing melodies and scales. This basically, I take a little bit from the flamenco style, where you have a lot of the picado style, a lot of the the faster techniques, which use the rest stroke versus free stroke. So I spent a whole module talking about the free stroke and its advantages and its usage, compared to the rest stroke, which is where you get more speed from. I do have a video here on YouTube. It's one of the videos most seen in my channel, where I speak about just the techniques for melodic execution. Then we have one module just specifically for bass lines, for show bass lines, which is one of the most unique things about the Brazilian guitar. And we're going to have...
Could you give an example of
Sure.
that you didn't.
Okay, so when I'm talking about bass lines, this is one of the coolest things about the Brazilian guitar. Say I'm going to have a progression here, very famous progression. Bota a tela de novo do normal aí. Here's 2 chords, C major and G7. But you can actually build a counterpoint line on the bass, like so. Inverting chords and sometimes filling in with a scale. I'm going to show you how to build these bass lines in an improvised manner, so you can embellish any tunes. As we have one melodic player, you can actually build counterpoint lines to sound a lot like an authentic Brazilian guitar. I said 4 modules, but there are actually 5. The 5th module, I would say, is the most important, where you get 12 arrangements that I've developed for the Brazilian guitar, and each one of these arrangements has 2 facets. One is just for accompaniment, and the other one is for chord solo and fingerstyle melody. And then finally, you have 2 extra modules, which are basically they are bonuses. One is for 7-string guitar players. If you have a 7-string, I'll show you some of the ways to use it. And the other one is about nails. I get a lot of questions about how do you file your nails, how do you take care of your nails. So basically, there are all these 7 modules of this course, which comprehend 12 hours of recorded lessons, plus 8 hours of live spread in 4 months. That's what I'm here to tell you about, guys. This is a great opportunity that would have costed rather $800. You could get for just $91. This is a promotional price. I used to sell this course for a bit higher rate, but you guys are welcome to jump into this next group. This is going to be the 5th or 6th group that I'm putting together. 5th group. And it's been always fun, guys. I've been able to make friends from all over the world. Many of these guys have posted some of their testimonials after they took this course, and maybe I'll share one with you. Yeah, this is going to be a great time for that. One of the greatest American guitar players that I know of, actually, his name is Justin King from Oregon. He was one of my students, and he was kind enough to share with us some of his experiences as a student, so I'm going to share this with you.
Hey everybody, this is Justin King. I wanted to tell you a little story about Felipe Coelho, who I have been taking lessons from now for a few months. I am a DAD-GAD player, but I decided recently to start learning really how to play in standard tuning, and also I'm self-taught, and I never learned how to read music or really learned anything about guitar theory. So I decided I kind of wanted to go back to the drawing board and learn some of those things and kind of expand my knowledge of the instrument and of music in general. And I would say that Felipe is somebody who it's hard to find a teacher as comprehensive and sort of sensitive as he is. He really understands how to work with people, not only how to help people learn the guitar or learn music theory, but actually how to help people learn anything. And that, I think, is the mark of a great teacher. And so for somebody like me who has an established history as a guitar player, to work with somebody who really has that knowledge both as a musician but also as a teacher, it's been really incredible. So I just highly recommend Felipe for anybody who's looking to expand their musical knowledge and their knowledge of the guitar. And yeah, thanks for listening, and I hope you guys enjoy learning from him. Cheers.
Okay, so about Felipe. Felipe is, I mean, if I had to describe it, briefly, he's an absolute music theory nerd. I mean, this guy is the guy that you want if you want to improve when it comes to music theory. But not just that. I mean, I got into the course of the Secrets of Brazilian Guitar because I really wanted to understand what was going on behind the music, the theory behind it. And Felipe, the way he was talking about the music, it just convinced me immediately. I knew that this guy knew what he was talking about, knew what was happening behind the scenes, behind the chords, behind the rhythm, behind the melody. And so that's what I did. I just purchased the course, the Secrets of the Brazilian Guitar, and I was completely blown away by all the content that I got. All the video tutorials that you get, but also the sessions that you get with Felipe. It's immensely helpful. Being able to talk to Felipe and level your questions at him, and it's just invaluable. I mean, I really think that this is a great value, and I don't regret a single bit of it. I mean, it was a great choice that I made. I really was hitting a ceiling when it came to my level of playing the guitar. I was able to play relatively comfortably the music, but I didn't really understand it. So that's why I got into the course myself. But you can come into the course wherever you have difficulty. So whether it's rhythm that you want to improve at, or melody, or you want to understand the music, whatever it is, Felipe, I'm very sure, can help you. He's a very competent teacher, and not just a maestro of music, but also, I think, a very good teacher, which is why he's my private tutor as well now, which I'm very excited about and very thankful for. So just recently I had a lesson, and I showed him this tune, and he was immediately able to play it and also understand it and explain what was going on. So I'm just going to play it because I think it's really nice as well. So this is what thanks to Felipe, pretty much. Let me try again. So yeah, in summary, you will absolutely not regret getting into the Secrets of the Brazilian Guitar course. I absolutely loved it. It was a lot of fun connecting with all the other people as well that were in the course, and it was a great time. I really recommend it to anyone who's trying to get better in any way, and Felipe is your guy. Believe me, he is. So yeah, and with that, I bid you all farewell.
All right, yeah, that was Fade. He's still working with me until today. Great guy. So guys, if you have stuck here until this moment, is because you do have interest in this, and I'm going to throw out one of the things that you cannot miss. Is a promotion where the 10 first buyers of this course get a free 1-hour lesson, 1-hour mentorship, just you and I. So if you're interested on that, again, my rate is $40 a month, $40 a lesson, but you do have one free lesson with me. We're going to put together a list that once we close the cart, a week from today, we're going to close this cart, and we're going to make a WhatsApp group. We're going to let you know in the list who the 10 first buyers are, and these 10 guys are going to get a free lesson straight from me. Now you're probably asking yourself, am I the right guy to get this? But I'm not a professional guitarist, or I don't have time for this. But I do have a couple things that I want to address about these points. Is first of all, this is a lifelong access material. If you don't have time now, or you're going through a hectic moment in your life, you could hold everything and just access it next year if you want. Or if you only have one time a week, 1 hour a week that you have free, you can use just that hour to access all the recorded material that's going to be on a platform on the link that you're going to have access once you enter this group of students. And what if you say, for example, I don't like the fact that it's an online course because I like to have interaction, like question and answer. For exactly for that reason, we put together a 4-month time in which I'm going to offer 8 lives exclusively for the group of students that enter this course. So once every 15 months, I'm going to meet with all the students. Some of them sometimes are not able to show up because of time zone difference, but even that we took care of by simply uploading all of these lives, because many times your question may be asked by another student. So all the lives are uploaded, and only the students of the course get an exclusive link to access the live. So basically these lives are for me to assess your developments and answer any of your questions that you have, any questions you have related to the material. And what if you have an objection, say, I'm not from Brazil? Well, that's exactly where the academic information that I went all the way to the United States to get and study in depth, how to write music, how to think about music methodically, all of that is for you to understand how music works, and for me to be able to grab you by the hand. Doesn't matter if you're starting to play the guitar today, I can give you information step by step that you can make sense out of from using simply mathematical subdivisions, numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and plus the listening and trying to emulate back all these tools that I've learned from studying in depth in the academies. Of course, I went through classes of music pedagogy, so to understand a little bit of psychology and of teaching methods. I'm applying all of that I've been able to gather in this course. So even if you're not a professional, if you're not from Brazil, I'm here to show you exactly that. This course is made exactly thinking about people that are not Brazilian and that are not professional. So I'm trying to take you by the hand, step by step, to help you up and be able to understand this information. Is there any other objection?
PDFs.
Oh yeah, the surprise for you guys, and this is even for those of you who already entered the course, this course platform is going to be fed new material over time, and if you enter it now, there's 12 tunes in there, but there are going to be many more. I'm planning on putting more arrangements in there, and this is the first time out of the 5 times I've offered this course that I'm going to promise, and this promise is also for the guys that already entered the course before. I think Fade might be watching this live. I'm going to offer PDFs with tablature for every arrangement. There's 2 already available. And as you stick in the course and the weeks go by, I'm going to release 1 new PDF that's going to be the written music plus tablature. I myself am not a big fan of tablature, but since I understand some of you guys out there like to learn that way, I have no objections. I'm going to promise you that you're going to have written PDFs for all the 12 pieces released on a weekly manner, all right? And if you say, oh, but this is too expensive, I don't have enough money to do this. So I'm going to repeat for you why this is a one-time opportunity. It is because my lesson rate, and I do teach many people online, is $40 an hour. If you took 20 hours of information, of lessons from me, that would cost, what, $800, right? Because 10 times 4 is 400, then 20 times 4 is $800. So you're taking a price of $800 for 20 hours of instruction for $91. So that's like an absurd, I can't even calculate how much percent discount. It's a 300-400%, some absurd number. So this is really an opportunity. The reason why I say one time is because it's going to stay open for only 1 week, and then I'm going to have to close the cart, and then I'm not even sure when I'm going to offer this again. And I can't even promise you that I will. So take advantage of this time right now and enter this group of students to hang together with a group of students from all over the world. and you're going to have personal lives with me for 4 months to make sure, go by little, to learn what it takes to play some authentic Brazilian style guitar. And you're going to be able to play all those Jobim tunes, João Gilberto, some Yamandu Costa, some baião. A lot of great stuff awaits you on the other side. Make sure, guys, you click on this link right here and join me for these 4 months of intense Brazilian guitar study.
Do you have any questions about
Do you guys have any questions about this course? Any questions, please write for me here. Again, you're taking a $800 value for only $91.
I'm talking about the songs.
Okay. Maybe I should spend a little time telling you about these 12 tunes that I picked. So I picked 12 tunes. I spent a great deal of attention picking by finger 12 tunes that exemplify these styles that we're looking for. We have one baião, one partido alto, one afoxé. We're going to have many different types of samba. So some of these tunes are Brasileirinho, Noites Cariocas, Quiet Nights of Quiet Stars, Desafinado, Girl from Ipanema, Mais Que Nada. Mais Que Nada is a good old tune that was in the Austin Powers soundtrack, right? Which you have this. Este samba que é misto de maracatu, é samba de preto velho, samba de preto tu. Mais que nada, samba como esse tão legal, você vai querer que isso chegue no final. Oh, anyways, that's one of the tunes. There's 12 tunes out there that I made 2 versions. One is just self-accompaniment. You can accompany yourself singing or another instrument playing the melody, or chord solo. You could play these tunes in an instrumental fashion, almost like a classical guitar, but visiting the popular realm of Brazilian music. It's such a great selection of tunes that you guys can build into your repertoire. And finally, I'll say, even if you don't play any Brazilian music, you can use all these techniques to bring up your game on the guitar. You can embellish some of the tunes you already play with some of this Latin taste. I promise you, you'll not regret this, because Latin music is such a diverse, colorful, beautiful language. You definitely don't want to miss on that, and that's what I'm here for. And I would say finally, one of the greatest advantages on this course is that it's a unique course on earth, because of the very reason that, and I have checked, all the Brazilian courses, the greatest ones that are offered, are in Portuguese language. Most of these Brazilian guitar masters, they happen not to have the same fluency in English that I was given the opportunity to learn, to develop by living in the United States for 9 years and learning all my musical education there. I was able to learn English, and now to be able to give you this. Doesn't matter where you live. I've taught students from Germany, from Italy, from Romania, from Mexico, from Iran, from Latin American countries such as Venezuela and Colombia. So this is the opportunity, is to be able to understand firsthand the secrets of Brazilian guitar, but in a universal language. I believe that's one of the reasons why we've been able to sell more than 150 courses around the world, is because the people from other countries, they want to know. They want to know this in a language they can understand. And that's what I'm here for, guys, is to be able to help you out with this. So the link is here on the chat. I'll take a few more questions before we end this live. I hope you've been able to learn some things. You can always rewind the live, go back and slow down the speed, okay? But I thank you for being here.
WhatsApp group. There is a WhatsApp group for each class.
All right, so I sense you guys are asking some things about how to get the information. Basically, once you sign up for the course, the first thing that's going to happen is the creation of a WhatsApp group. Within this WhatsApp group, you're going to get all the information you need. The links for the lives, updates. You'll be able to communicate straight with me. Whenever you want, you can send videos of your playing so that I can assess and I can give you some constructive feedback. So the WhatsApp group is for you to have access straight to me and to all the information that you need on this course. First thing that happens once we close the cart is we're going to ask you, all of you guys, all the students that enter the course, we're going to ask you about your time zone and your preferred lesson time. So then we put all that information together and try to make a couple of weekly times that are most suitable for everyone who signed up. Because sometimes morning or night time at one side of the earth is another time on another side of the earth. So we're going to try to consider all of that to be able to give you the most suitable and convenient time. So everything is done by the WhatsApp group. And we also have done a Facebook group as well in the previous groups. And things can be done through there as well. You can post as many times as you want, post videos of everything. And I can promise you, I will watch all the videos that you guys post there, and I'll give you all the feedback that I can with the best intentions. And yeah, guys, one thing also that I'd like to say for those of you who are still here is feel free to, if you want to say thank you in one way for me, is subscribe to this channel where I tend to post periodically videos of arrangements, very intricate and complex arrangements. Of course, I don't do them to be intricate and complex, but to be musical. And I also post tutorials. So I've been giving away several free tips here on the channel. And I would like to ask you to, if you want to show thank you or show some support, feel free to click on subscribe here. That will be very cool of you. And I will say thank you right now for your support. That means a lot to me. For those of you guys who are still here, to sign up to the channel, where I guarantee you'll be given a lot of great free content. All right? So I'm gonna finish off with another arrangement here. This is one of the tunes that this is probably the most difficult tune that I explain out of the 12 tunes that I arranged in this course for you guys. This is for those of you who like some hardcore classical guitar, some hardcore performance. This is one of the arrangements offered in the course. And with this course, with this arrangement, I will say goodbye to you. I thank you very much from the bottom of my heart that you guys watched this. Once again, I say, if you want to say thank you, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the other side. I'll be seeing you next week, where we start the course, Secrets of Brazilian Guitar. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for being here. Oxalá, axé e muita paz para todos vocês. Um beijo no coração.